become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again to the Bebe Means Business Show. So glad that you're safe and well and you're able to join us again today. For those of you who don't know who I am or you're joining us for the very first time, I'm your host, Bebe Clement, and you are welcome to the Business Show of the Week. This is the place that you come when you want to get all the information and all the advice and the tips that you need to be successful in business and to become ultimately financially free. I want to welcome you once again today. And just to let you know that we're going to be doing something slightly different today, and I'll tell you the reason why in a minute. Okay, so a few weeks ago, there were some statistics that I read to my viewers, and over 70% of adults globally are financially illiterate. That means we don't know how to make money. We don't know how to keep it when we do make it. We don't know how to grow it. And we don't know how to protect it and preserve it for generations to come. So there's no wonder, really, that the majority of us are struggling in our financial lives. No wonder at all if that is indeed the situation. So I thought I'd do a show that would help us slightly to come away from that and to educate us a little bit more in the area of financial literacy. So in order to do so, I've invited a couple of my friends along, but before I introduce them, just wanted to let you know that if you want to connect with me online, these are the ways in which you do that. So you can connect with me on Twitter, for those of you who like Twitter. My Twitter handle is @BebeClement. And if you're more into Instagram, it is @Bebe_Clement. That's @Bebe_Clement. So, yes, so we're going to be doing a money quiz today. It's going to be something slightly different. And I really want you guys to get involved. So, particularly those of you who are watching through Facebook, you can get involved in this money quiz. And if you know the answers to any of the questions, just put it in the chat. And I've got lots of lovely prizes here for you today. Lots of lovely prizes. Lots of materials that are going to help you in your entrepreneurial journey. This one is how to hold on to your day job while running a successful business. This one is financial planning, personal financial planning. And then we have Empower to Prosper. Empower to Prosper. Some financial tips from with a little bit of some talk there as well. Financial tips there as well. Okay, so as you can see, we're having some technical problems, so bear with us. And that's also the reason why we started late, because we're having some problems. So we'll definitely get there in a little while, don't worry about it. But it'll be worth the wait, as it always is. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to introduce my friend. And I want to thank them for taking the time out to join us. I've got two friends with us on the section today. Bebe, do you want to go first? Ladies first. Do you want to go first? Bebe, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah, hello all. Bebe, thank you for the invite. I'm quite delighted to be here. I think you've mentioned, I belong to one of the groups you have referred to. Like you said, some know how to grow, some don't even know how to grow, some grow and don't know how to protect. You know, I kind of belong to one of it, but my name is Bumi Iyere. I work for the Caribbean and African Health Network as the locality engagement lead, covering Bolton, Berry, and Wigan. Basically, it's about bringing the community, the Black and Caribbean community together. Yeah, thank you. Hope that is enough. Yeah.
Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us. Thank you. And Kay, do you want to introduce yourself? Kay, you're looking upside down. I'm not sure if that's how you're. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Kay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Dear listeners, my name is Coyote Olati. Bebe, thank you for inviting me. I think your records, the record you told us earlier that you read, that's 70% of the world population are financially illiterate. I think that record is wrong. I think we are more than that because, as you know, I'm the president of that club. So our membership record says that it's wrong. So I think you are about 70%, right?
Absolutely, Kay. I agree with Kay. I'm one of them.
Well, in all honesty, or in all fairness to us, I don't think it's totally our fault because the education system doesn't teach us much about finance. You know, I was thinking about this today while I was preparing for this show, and I was thinking about all the useless information that I was taught in school. I remember spending ages learning how to dissect a frog. Guess how many times I've had to dissect a frog since I left school? So I don't think it's always our fault, to be honest. But yes, it hasn't served us well. You would think that would be a priority. I actually think, I know people think I'm kidding, but I actually think it's done on purpose. I think it serves those at the top not to teach us about how to make money, because then, you know, they can continue to get richer while the rest of us continue to get poorer. But we're going to beat them at their own game today. We're not having that anymore. So I want to thank you very, very much for coming along. Are you guys ready for the quiz?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. I just want to say that, you know, it's not the right and wrong that we're really looking for right now. What we're looking for is to generate debate around some of the issues that we're going to discuss, if that's okay. Okay? All right. So, and I say that particularly for those of us whose children are watching. So our kids are thinking, oh, so mommy doesn't even know anything about this, and she's always on my back, and daddy doesn't know anything about that, and he's always on my back. So just to let you know that it's not the right and wrong that we're looking for per se. We're just looking to generate the debate around the issues. Okay, so let's go. We're going to start with Bumi. I think the first question is going to go to you. But before I actually do the question, I just want to let everybody know that this is a live show. And so we definitely want you to get involved. If you do want to hook up with us or discuss anything that get involved in anything we're talking about today, you can contact us on our Twitter handle, which is @StarRadioUK. Or if you're looking through, watching us through FB, Facebook, then it's Star Radio UK. And of course, the phone line is 07539 661 744. That number again, 07539 661 744. Okay, are we good to go? If we're good to go. Bumi seems to have disappeared. So shall we start with Kay until Bumi comes back? All right, Kay.
Yes,
so question number one. Question number one. Here we go. What kind of economic system does the UK operate? Right, I'm going to move my camera a bit because I think I'm upside down again.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of economic system does the UK operate? And I'll give you the options. The options are A, a planned economy, B, a capitalist economy, C, a mixed economy.
Well, I will say straight away that it's a capitalist economy, but really it's actually a mixed economy.
A mixed economy.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you think it's a mixed economy?
It is mixed because there are a lot of policies, government policies that tends to encourage or give support for those who are not at the level who can take care of themselves, if you like. For example, a capitalist economy will not necessarily favor. There wouldn't be anything like unemployment grants and all that. So incorporating that is tending to help those who are not able to take care of themselves for whatever reason.
Okay. All right. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree. Okay. Now, first of all, I just want to let our listeners know what exactly a planned economy is. Okay. A planned economy is one where the investments and income is determined by the state. That's a planned economy. A capitalist economy is one where all the factors of production, land, labor, and capital are privately owned and controlled by a very small group of people. actually we have a capitalist economy. And a capitalist economy doesn't necessarily negate assistance for those who are less vulnerable. And if you think about something like somewhere like America, America still has a welfare system, but it is the most capitalist economy in the world. But the important thing is to know what each of those mean and what your role is in relation to that, and which of course has an impact on how you make money. So I think for our listeners, the most important thing to know is that those who control the factors of production are the ones who make money in a capitalist society. It's not necessarily those who are educated. And I think now it's very clear that we in some ways have been, I don't want to use the word misled, but we've kind of bought into something that has proven itself not to be true. Kay, you and I, we belong to the industrial age, and you know how it was in the industrial age. You were told, finish school, go get a good job, you be in that job for the next 20, 30 years, and you climb your way up the corporate ladder, and then you somehow become, and at the end, find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and become financially free. But we found that that's not necessarily true. Which is why a lot of us are struggling or having to reinvent ourselves or re-educate ourselves in our latter years. So it's important that we know what kind of economy that we're living in. The most countries in the world now, most, not all, but most countries in the world practice some form of capitalism, And the important thing to know is whoever controls the factors of production, whoever owns the land, owns the labor, owns the capital, those are the ones who become rich. Okay, is Bebe back with us?
Yeah, I am.
You are? Okay. We can't see you, but we're just going to ask you the next question.
Oh,
okay?
goodness. Yeah.
All right. So here's the next question. Are the following statements true or false? Are the following statements true or false? 1. A freehold is the same as a leasehold. Is that true or false?
I think it's false.
It's false. Okay, Kay, what do you think?
False.
It's false. Okay, yep. A 99-year lease affords the same rights as a freehold. Bumi? A 99-year lease affords the same rights as a freehold. Is that true or false?
I would say it's true.
It's true? Okay, what would you say?
I think it's true too.
You think it's true. Okay, and the third one is a leaseholder must agree to a change in service charge rates for them to be introduced. A leaseholder must agree to a change in service charge rates for the freeholder to introduce them. Is that true or false? Wumi?
I'll say false.
You'd say false. Okay, Kay, what would you say?
I think it's true.
You'd say it's true. Okay, so let's go back over all of them. So the 3 questions were this. A, are the following statements true or false? A was a freehold is the same as a leasehold. And Bumi said that's not true. And Kay said that's not true. And you were correct. They are not the same at all. Do we know what the difference is? Do we know what the difference is between a freehold and a leasehold? Okay.
Maybe Kay knows, but
Does Kay know?
Oh, well, a leasehold is literally the owner of the land, and invariably the land will return, or the property will return to them.
Who is that? Freehold or the leasehold?
No, the freehold.
Yeah, okay.
And the leaseholder is the person is temporarily in charge for whatever number of years. Temporarily in charge, so it's not theirs, but they are temporarily in charge. So it's like, oh, care for this for me for this period of time. So
that is the difference. That's excellent. That is the difference. The leaseholder owns the property, but he doesn't own the land. The freeholder owns the land, which pretty much answers the next question, which was a 99-year lease affords the same rights as a freeholder. Is not true. It doesn't. It doesn't, because just like you said, Kay, after 99 years, the freeholder is going to knock on the door. Even if you have passed that property on to your children or your grandchildren, one day will come that freeholder will knock on somebody's door and say, can I have the keys? Because it's not the same. Even a 999-year lease is not the same as a freeholder. One day, the freeholder is going to knock on the door and he's going to ask for the key back. Okay, cool. So we're getting somewhere. And the third question was, a leaseholder must agree to a change in service charge rates for them to be introduced. So you both said that's not true. Unfortunately, that is true. Oh no, must agree to it. No, you're right. It's not true. I'm so sorry. It's not true. He doesn't have to agree to it. So a freeholder can increase the service charge any way he likes. A freeholder can increase the ground rent any way he likes. He doesn't have to, within reason of course, but he doesn't need your consent as a leaseholder to do that. Any comments on that, on the freehold and the leaseholds? Any comments you guys want to make on that?
No, I think that's straightforward enough, yeah.
Okay, so this is for the employees. So as we know that in a capitalist society, employees don't do very well. They don't do very well at all in the long term. And I was actually reading something some time ago, which I shared with our viewers a couple of weeks ago, and it said something quite upsetting, but I shared it all the same because I think it's important that we educate ourselves, which is the whole point of this program. They said that some research was done, and they found that after beggars in the capitalist society, in the long term, the next group of poor people are employees who are dependent on a single source of income. Now, I found that quite frightening. And I, the more reason why I do this show, so that we are aware. They said, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. If you are an employee and you have only one source of income, i.e. your salary, there is a very strong chance that you are going to come to retirement age with no money, with not enough money to enjoy your retirement. So it's really important that you have different sources of income. There's nothing wrong in being an employee. Please hear me correctly. Being an employee is cool. A lot of people enjoy their job. That's fine. But the issue is that you're not dependent on a single source of income. Because supposing they sack you, supposing they make you redundant. I'm an employment lawyer, and I remember a case recently where the woman was coming up to, she was within 2 years of retirement, and she was looking at a really good pension within 2 years of retirement, and her employer cooked up something, and they sacked her, and her retirement went out the window. So, you're perpetually vulnerable as an employee if you have only one source of income. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Okay, so this next question is very relevant in relation to the fact that we're going through COVID at the moment. So, Kay, I'm going to pass this to you. Is this statement true or false? My employer cannot sack me on ill health grounds. Is that true or false?
It's false.
It's false. Yay! Okay, so yes, your employer can sack you. I remember I was doing a show recently, and somebody was asking me, could my employer sack me because of COVID? If I have COVID, then surely they can't sack me. They can. You get paid because of your ability to work. That's what they're paying you for, your ability to work. So if that ability to work is hampered, then they can get rid of you. In fact, capability is one of the legal grounds, one of the 5 legal grounds in which you can be sacked. So you could have worked for your employer for 20 years, given faithful service, not had a day off sick. Your marriage is broken down because you're always at work, and you neglected the family and everything like that, trying to climb up that corporate ladder, and then you can become ill, and within a short period of time, they can sack you. They can sack you. So yes, they can sack you. Go on.
In spite of the support of employment tribunal, employers have a way of, if they want you off their book, there's always a way to do it.
Absolutely.
They have ways to do it, and anyway, they are advised by lawyers as to possible ways in which an employee can be getting rid of. So, yeah, it's not true.
Okay, good one. So those of you who think you can't. Sorry to disillusion you, but it's important that you know. Okay, next one is for Bumi. Which of the following is an appreciative asset? A, a car, B, land, C, lace material. For those who are not used to our culture, I'll tell you what lace material is in a little while. Okay, so the first one is a car, second one is land, C is lace material. But which of those is an appreciative asset?
Absolutely, I would say, hopefully I'm not wrong, but absolutely it does appreciate over a possibility.
What was that? Sorry?
Yeah. I would say land.
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 Yeah.
That one is very obvious.
No, you'd be surprised.
Well, don't let me play the devil's advocate here. No, seriously, in a joking manner. We get this thing. For example, if one was to sell a car in different parts of Africa at the moment, and I think maybe this is what confuses some of us, to sell a car that they bought for some price, and a few years later, because of the value of our currency, it looks as if it has appreciated. They sell it more than they bought it, but really it is not. I'm just saying, just jokingly.
Yeah, okay. All right, so a car is not an appreciative asset at all, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why I have that question in there is because a large percentage of our community tend to spend money on things that are not appreciating. And if you spend a large amount of your money on things that are not appreciating, it is very unlikely that you become wealthy. So a car, for instance, if you buy a new car and you take it you drive it out of the car showroom and you drive it down the next street and you turn around and you come back and you want to sell it back to them, the price that they will offer you is at least 25% less than the price that you just paid within the last 20 minutes. Because a car depreciates by about 25% the minute you drive it out of the car showroom. So don't spend unnecessary money buying expensive cars that you can't afford to impress people that don't like you. The second thing is, I just want to give a definition of an asset, really. There's no magic or convoluted definition of an asset. An asset is anything, an appreciative asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's what it is. And a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, in that case, by that definition, my wife is definitely not an asset. but that aside, a car is not an asset. Lace material. Now, again, like I said, lace material in my culture, and I'm Nigerian, lace material is the tradition, pretty much what we wear to functions, for occasions, and we spend a huge amount of money on lace material. It is not an asset, ladies and gentlemen. So again, if you are serious about creating wealth, you really have to hone in on things that are going to put money in your pocket and not things that are going to depreciate over time. Lace material is not an asset, so don't spend all your money doing that. Land is an asset, and there is hardly a time that land does not appreciate in value. Hardly ever a time. And included in land will also include property. Property, of course, is an asset. And except there's a property crash, whereby would be a good time to buy land anyway, except it's a property crash, property appreciates. You don't even have to do anything to it. Market forces will make it appreciate. I remember the first house that we bought our first house for $53,000 and we sold it 8 years later for $180,000. So it appreciates. We didn't do nothing to it. Just market forces will make it appreciate. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you are serious about creating wealth, you need to start looking at your spending habits. What am I spending money on? Appreciative assets or liabilities? Okay. All right. So the next question is for, who was that one for? That was for women. So the next question is for Kate. Which of the following is a means of transferring wealth to your children? A, life insurance policy. B, a valid will. C, a freehold or leasehold. D, all of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yes. So my question now to everybody that's listening, how many of you have life insurance? That's the question. If we know that this is a way in which we can transfer wealth to our children, How many of you have life insurance? So this is going to be your kick up the butt session. If you haven't got life insurance, go get it. Go get it. Because for a lot of other communities, the first taste of wealth for their children is life insurance. And 9 times out of 10, my people don't have it. So how are our children going to become wealthy? I really believe that wealth is supposed to be built one block upon another. So my kids, I feel that if my kids have to start all over again financially, then I'm sorry, I think I have failed as a parent. My children should be able to build upon what I have laid down. That's how it's supposed to be. They're not supposed to have to start from ground zero all over again. And one of the best ways in which you can give them a head start is to ensure that you have life insurance in place. I have known people who have died and their children have had to sell the house because there's not enough money to pay off the debts, there's not enough money to pay off the mortgage, and there is no life insurance. If you have life insurance that pays off the mortgage on your debt, that means your children will inherit a mortgage-free home. That will set them up. At least that will give them a head start in life. Okay, so that's one. Let's talk about a will, a valid will. Now, if you die intestate, dying intestate means you die without a valid will, and a valid will is one that has been witnessed and is signed and dated by someone of sound mind. So you have to make sure it's not enough to just write it out and put it in your cupboard. It must be signed, dated, and witnessed. So if you die without a valid will or intestate, the government can take up to 40% of everything you own. I need you to hear that. I really need you to hear that. Because what is the point of you working like no man's business only to have the government come in on your death and take 40% of what you've worked for? So it's important that you have a valid will. Doesn't matter how much or how little you have, don't worry about that, but make sure you have a valid will. Okay, and the freehold, leasehold we've already talked about, and of course all of the above are a way in which you can pass money or wealth to the next generation. Okay, the next question. Question number 6. We're not going to take any breaks because I think this is important. I want us to get through this. Question number 6. Boom, is it your turn?
Okay.
Okay. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great. All right, so when starting a small business, and as you know, a small business is one of the ways in which you can build wealth. When starting a small business, which of the following do you need? All right? A solicitor. B, an accountant or a bookkeeper. C, a secretary. D, your pastor. So which of these do you need when you want to start a small business? A solicitor. B, an accountant. C, a secretary. D, your pastor. Which of these do you need, Wumi?
I would say an accountant, and that's what I would say. I don't know if he's right, but an accountant, yeah.
Yes, I agree. You either need an accountant or a bookkeeper, yes. I think you'd also need a solicitor as well. I would encourage you to have someone look over the legalities of your business. Also make sure that it's the right model, because sometimes people start a business and there's nothing wrong with the business, but they go under because it wasn't the right model or it wasn't the right fit for them. So it's an idea to get a solicitor to have a look at it. Particularly if you're going to get premises, then I would encourage you to have a solicitor look over the lease, at least for you. Oftentimes we get ourselves into trouble because we haven't had professional services. And the reason why I have that question in there is because oftentimes my people don't understand the importance of professional services. They think that they are expensive. They're expensive for a reason, ladies and gentlemen, but they save you a lot of time and energy and dismay in the long term. So it's important that you have them. Bumi, you're right. You don't necessarily need a secretary. No, you don't. But here's the big one, particularly those of you who are of the faith. Many of you think you need your pastor to pray for 6 months, or to lay hands on your business plan, or to even sanction the business. I've known people who have walked away from a good or a viable business because their pastor was in disagreement with it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to your pastor. That's not what I'm saying. But it should not be the deciding factors, particularly if he doesn't know anything about business. You should watch where you're getting your advice from. So you do not need your pastor to sign off on your business dreams. Okay. All right. So number 7. Whose turn is it? Okay. Here we go. So when you are starting a business, which of the following steps are imperative or essential for you to succeed? A, you must do your market research. B, you must identify your client base. C, you need a large amount of funds. D, you need business premises. E, you need staff. So let's go back. Do you need to do market research?
Yes, ma'am. 100%.
100%, yes. What kind of things do you find out when you do market research?
Market research is essentially it's about asking what I want to do, who are my clients, where would I get them from,
Yes.
who are my competitors,
Yes.
how are they doing the business, what do they charge, you know, what is their unique selling point, what is it, why do people buy from them? So what can I change that will make people come to me rather than to them? And what is the demand for my product or my services?
Exactly. I mean, we discussed that on this show a few weeks ago, that many people start a business because they have something that they want to sell. That's not how you do business. You start a business because you have something somebody wants to buy. And there's a world of difference between those two statements. So yeah, you're so right. Those are all the things that market research. Can you see, ladies and gentlemen, the importance of market research, all the things that it will reveal to you? Thanks, Kay, for that. Do you need to identify your clients? Well, you've already answered that question, actually, in that first question. Okay. What about a large amount of funds? Do you need a large amount of funds to start a business?
No, no. It depends on the business. I mean, nowadays, a lot of people. Maybe I should say this. Many years ago, a young man, I think his name is Bebe, who started the scooter boy. They called him. The guy was just 12 years old when he saw these scooters. He saw it online and he told his parents that he would want one of those. And to cut long story short, this boy started that business without money, because he wanted one, but the company in America decided they wanted to give him one to demonstrate as a marketing, for them to market for them in the UK, because they see that if he's riding around town, very many other kids will want something like that. So this boy started the business literally with nothing, and he became, he made so much money from it. So you don't need large ones, especially, there are ways of doing these things now, especially in this age of technology.
Yes, you're so right. I remember that young man. I was fascinated I watched a documentary on him some years ago. I was fascinated. He was just phenomenal. And like you said, he became a millionaire. He was phenomenal. Yeah. Okay, and then the last one was, do you need business premises?
I can advise anybody who wants that. Now, because of my own experience, because of my own difficulty of what I had when I wanted to start business many years ago, and I decided to go for an elaborate business premises, and thinking that was what I needed. It was only after that I realized there are better ways of doing it. I could have done it a lot more differently. So business premises, nowadays people do run mega million businesses from their laptop, even from their handset, regardless of what it is. So no, premises are not particularly, except of course you want to be a high-street hairdresser, or maybe something like that you've seen it, or maybe you want to run a restaurant, that is high street. Yes, you can, or a tailoring service where you want people to actually display. Yes, but even with those, there are people who are now, like people say, Google, Amazon.com, and all these people, they're the richest companies in the world, and they don't really have premises, really, what we call premises. Yeah, no.
That's right. Okay, and the last one was staff. Initially, you don't need staff, but I do want anybody who is planning to start a business, I do want you to develop a growth mentality. So initially, you might not need staff, but you can only go so far with that. You can't be all things to all men in business. So sooner or later, you have to start factoring in staff.
Could I say something here, B? Yes, as for staff, actually what you have said, the question you asked me earlier, that is about employing the services of professionals. they literally become your staff. You know, if you have a secretary, I mean, if you have an accountant or a bookkeeper, that's already your staff, but it's not on permanent employment. It's not as if you are employed there permanently, but because you are making the the solicitor to go through reading of the legal documents, and you are making the bookkeeper to look over your books, which is going to save you a humongous amount of money, stress, and there's so much, that these people bring in. So if you have them on retainership, it is the business, it is the day they come to work for you, or whatever they charge per hour, they are your staff. So that is the thing. But you don't really need to bring one in to permanently come and sit down at the beginning when the business is not going really. So I think,
Perfect point. Absolutely, really valid point. Yes, that is your power team. That is your power team, even though they're not on your payroll. You're so right. Good. Thanks for that.
They're kind of on your payroll, if you know.
Okay.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So the next question is for Bumi. Indicate true or false for the following statements. A sole trader is a person or business entity that is owned and run by one individual, or a sole trader is a person who is his own boss and does whatever he feels like doing at any time, or a sole trader is a person who works for himself at his own pace and with his own style.
The A and the C is a bit confusing. The B is out of it.
Okay. It's A. You're right. I mean, I think I purposely put the similarities there, but you're right. A is definitely the word. Yeah, it's fine. It's a person or business entity that is owned and run by one individuul. That's a sole trader. Okay. Now, what do you understand by the term financial independence? Okay, this one's for you.
Sorry.
What do you understand by the term financial independence? A is deliverance from the love of money. B, being free from any financial obligations or responsibilities. C is the state of having sufficient personal wealth to live without having to work actively for basic necessities.
C, madam.
Definitely. And that's where we're all going, ladies and gentlemen. That's the whole point of this show, the Bebe Means Business Show, to ensure that we get you to a place where you don't have to work actively for basic necessities. You have sufficient income coming in that you can afford to live a basic or a decent life without having to be tied to a desk all day long, every day for the rest of your life. Okay, Bumi, which of the following do you think is the most important for anybody to achieve financial independence? A, you have to work hard day and night. B, you have to have a good job and associate with rich people. C, you have to have an ISA, an individual savings account, to save most of your money. D, you have to have a SIP, which is a self-invested personal pension plan. E, you have to have a good personal financial plan to follow. Which of them is right?
A good personal financial plan to follow, because ISA and all that it's like a one-off thing. Yeah, so a personal plan would take care of every other thing.
Yes, definitely. I want to go through a couple of those things, actually, because I think there's some misconceptions in relation to some of them. Now, a lot of us are hard workers. The first one was work hard day and night. Now, a lot of us are hard workers, but we have nothing to show for it financially. So clearly, it is not the working day and night that is making people rich. There are people who don't work a quarter of how hard you and I work, but they're rich. So clearly, they know things that we don't know. One of the things that they know, and we did this on the show a couple of weeks ago, one of the things that they know is that in order to become financially wealthy, you must have different income streams. And the average millionaire has about 7 at any given time. So you are not going to get wealthy on a salary. So the average worker or middle-class person, when you think about creating wealth, what they think about doing is working harder for their money, rather than making their money work harder for them. Again, there's a world of differences between those two sentences. The average middle class or working class person works hard for their money. The average capitalist, millionaire, rich person, whatever you want to call it, makes their money work hard for them. Now, I'm currently reading a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. I know I'm late in getting to it. Most people have already read it, but I was late in getting to it. But somebody, my best friend, bought it for me as a present last year, and I'm reading at the moment. But one of the principles that came out of that book was that you pay yourself first, and you invest that which you pay yourself. You don't eat it, you don't spend it, you pay yourself first. So I would strongly encourage that principle to be adopted by you. Whenever you get your money, if you're somebody who tithes or does something like that, then you tithe. After that, before BT gets their money, before your mortgage people get their money, take out at least 10% of that money and put it to work. What do I mean put it to work? Invest it in something. Either invest it in property, invest it in shares, invest it in Bitcoin, do peer-to-peer lending, whatever it is. But that money that you take out has got to produce, it's got to give birth. It's got to produce more money. If we don't do that, ladies and gentlemen, and we just spend everything that we earn, the chances of us becoming wealthy are next to nothing. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is having a good job and associate with rich people. Well, having a good job doesn't necessarily translate into becoming wealthy. And that's because of a psychological issue. The more money you earn, your wants will increase accordingly. So let's say you were on a £50,000 salary and you were happily living in a 2-bedroom flat in Thamesmead. The minute you get a job that pays 90,000, suddenly that two-bedroom flat will seem too small for you. And suddenly you realize that actually you don't like your neighbors and you don't want to live in Thamesmead. You want to live somewhere else. And as a result, you will start to spend more money. So in real terms, at the end of the day, in real terms, you are back where you started because your wants have increased with the income, which is the more reason why you have to have more than one source of income. All right, I want to get to a couple of the next questions, so I'm going to leave that one there. Okay, whose turn is it? Is it Bumi?
No.
Is it Bumi's turn?
I think it's Kate. Yeah.
It's Kate. All right, Kate. Which of the following do you think is oh no, we've done that one. Okay, so how can we define money? Money is defined as A, cash that is available to a person to buy anything that they want. B, cash is defined as deposits in my bank plus the cash that I have in my pocket that I can use to buy anything that I want. Or money is any object that is generally accepted as a medium of exchange used to make payment for goods and services.
It's a medium of exchange.
The medium of exchange. Okay. All right. Now, reason why that is important is because of, in the light of things like cryptocurrency. Now, a lot of people are not investing in cryptocurrency, and please hear me, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not asking you to go invest in cryptocurrency. I have, but I'm not asking you to do the same. But it's important that we understand this. A lot of people are shying away from the opportunities that I think cryptocurrency are affording because they don't see it as a medium of exchange. We have what we call traditional thinking when it comes to what is money. And we're going to have to move away from that because, as we can see, every industry is being disrupted. And what I mean by that is, if you think about Uber, Uber disrupted the taxi industry, such that they are the largest taxi firm in the world, but they don't own any taxis. And if you didn't understand that it is a disruption, you wouldn't get the concept of Uber as a business. The same thing with Airbnb. You wouldn't have understood the concept of Airbnb as a business because you didn't understand that disruption. Now, as far as I'm concerned, cryptocurrency has just come as a disruption to the money field, just like Airbnb has done, Uber has done. As regards medium of exchange, cryptocurrency has come to disrupt the medium of exchange, traditional modes of medium of exchange as we know them. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think I don't want you to miss an opportunity. If you've been inquiring about cryptocurrency, or you're curious about it, or you're thinking, what the heck is going on? I don't want you to miss an opportunity just because you think that money is something that you take out of your pocket and you pay for, and you use to pay for something.
Could I quickly add something here?
Yeah, sure.
About maybe about 10, 7, 8, 9 years ago, I was in Nigeria and I was speaking to my friend's son, who was 13 at the time. This boy, his knowledge of computing was incredible. So, and you get into places on the internet that he called the dark internet. That was where this young boy was operating then. The parents didn't understand it. They were even doing everything to dissuade him, and I was encouraging them. So this was sat me down one day. I was telling about cryptocurrency. This was 2013, and a 13-year-old boy was telling me about cryptocurrency in 2013. I was saying, I listened to him, and he was telling me, "Uncle, if you give me some money, blah 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 blah." So then I read about cryptocurrency. I went online, I read it. I went some places about it, and I read what bankers were saying that it is rubbish. It is this, it is that, more like a scam. Now, fast forward last year, I was talking to my son, who is an investment person, and I was not saying to him, I said, my friend's son told me this in 2013, and my son looked me right in the eye and said that if you had put 100, if you had put 100 pounds, no, he said if you have put 10 pounds, then in 2013, that by now you'll be worth millions. And I looked at him for the next few minutes. I couldn't say anything. I was just sitting there. Now, fast forward. Now, reading about banking, even banks are now, in a race to get into the cryptocurrency debate. And I'm thinking, really?
Oh yes, definitely. I remember, you're so right. I mean, I remember a few years ago, one of my best friends, she sat me down and she said, "Listen, Bebe, we got to invest in crypto." I don't know what the heck she was on about. I couldn't understand it. And she gave me the concept, and to me, it sounded like the emperor's, new clothes. It just sounded like this is not real. I just couldn't get my head around it. Sometimes you logic stops you. So I couldn't get my head around it. But anyway, she went and invested. And at the time, even she was late in coming to the table. By the time it was 5,000. So she bought at 5,000. And the last year, she sat me down. She said, "Bebe, listen, you're going to have to invest. I don't care what you say. You're going to have to invest." So I was forced to go and research about it. And I invested and everything like that. I cannot imagine how much money she has made. Because, again, this was a few years ago. From her investment of 5,000 at that time. I mean, I got into crypto when it was 17,000. That was last year. As at last week, I know it had a dip last week, but as at last week, the beginning of last week, it was up to about 40,000. So you can imagine, in a year, how many things are you going to invest in that they're going to have that. But again, just to say, disclaimer, I'm not asking you to go and invest in crypto. I'm just sharing my experience, and and you need to take some advice from a financial advisor as regards any investment or anything that we speak about on this show. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of the program, and I just want to say a huge thank you to my guests, Kay and Bumi, for coming on the show, and for risking it, because we're all learning. Everybody is learning, and so I'm really grateful for the insight that you have brought, the comments, and the advice and everything like that. It's really been educative for me, and I'm sure it's been that for our visitors as well, our listeners as well. Do you have any closing remarks, either of you?
Yes.
That we can connect with.
Yes. Thank you very much, Bebe, for getting me onto this program, and I think. I have benefited, I have gained from it, and some of the things we're saying here, it may bounce as if it is repeating the same thing that have been said over and over again. But like they say, if we say it, if we repeat it to ourselves often, and we see people who are to encourage us, that we will get better, business-wise and in terms of financial, because all of us, working hard for money, it isn't just about that. So it's a good reminder. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bumi?
Yeah. And for me, also, Bibi, thank you for the opportunity. And I've picked a lot, even from being part of this program today. And I just want to encourage listeners, as in myself, also that it's important to have a second stream of income. I've learned this from Bibi, not even from this program, from knowing her, that it's really important, because we have people who have good jobs and they feel satisfied. No, it's important. And it's also important to have a financial plan. Even if you're not a business person, kind of have a financial plan for yourself. So thank you, Bibi. Thank you for the invite and for the great work you're doing here.
Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the program. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I must apologize, particularly for the late start. We were having technical issues, particularly at the beginning. I do apologize for that. Sometimes these things are beyond us, but we'll keep improving. I want to say a thank you once again to my guests, Mr. Kadi Olatsui and Bumi Yeri, for taking time out of your schedules to be with us today. For the insights and the information, thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. Stay well. As you know, I always say, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life. It's your girl, Bebe Clement. I'll be here again next week, Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.